enjoy. I just want to give a quick thanks to the Tier 5 channel members and Patreons: Bob the Dragon, Datamagnet, Cat Crab Lobster, Duck Machine, Try Again 95, and Astraya the Dreamer. Thank you all very, very much. Story number 1. Listen, Think, Observe. Written by Stumpy Jim. Mezec stared at the human at the speaker's side, where all new species entering into the Senate are seated after being brought into the Galactic Federation. He, amongst some of the oldest living council members, had seen many species enter the Senate, and they all had the same pattern when entering the Senate building for the first time. Marvel at the technical achievements, awed by the many species that sit on the Senate, then pester and interrupt the meeting with question after question, frustrating everyone involved. But there was something odd about this creature. It was completely silent, eyes glancing around the room whenever someone spoke, then noting something down on a pad of paper. It seemed such a primitive way of recording information. It made him wonder if it was a mistake to take a species on too soon to the Senate. Sometimes he noticed it wiggled the furry little caterpillars above its eyes. Other times, it would smirk. Such a strange reaction got to Mezec, and so he had no clue what was said in the entire meeting as he focused his entire attention on the human. When the meeting was called, all the senators streamed out of the building, and he was making his way to his apartment when he encountered the human, almost knocking the small thing over. "Sorry about that," he apologized hastily. The human nodded and made a half smile. "It's no problem, Senator Mezec. It is a great honor to meet someone as distinguished as you." The tone of voice was calm and respectful. It surprised Mezec. "Well, thank you. I am Diego Lobo." "Well, Diego, what did you think of the meeting?" Diego paused for a moment and sniffed. "It was certainly, enlightening." "Oh, what did you learn?" Mezec asked, stroking his whiskers. "Do you understand the procedures? How to properly pose a request and raise a vote? The positions of the Speaker of the House and the other roles of the Senate?" Diego grinned and shook his head. "No, that was the last thing on my mind. Etiquette and proper procedure can be learned at a later date when I'm not gathering data." "Data? What do you mean, data?" Hesitating, the human wrinkled his nose. "Well, your people and ours are on such good terms that I suppose I don't mind telling you, but preferably at a place more secluded." "Of course. Follow me." Mezec led the human onto his personal transport. After opening the door, he gestured inside. The human narrowed his eyes and carefully scanned the entire vehicle before slipping into the side seat. "This'll do." Mezec smiled, trying not to look nervous but feigning. Sitting down in the pilot seat, he took the steering wheel and turned the key, the engine roaring to life. "So, what did you learn?" he asked. "Quite simply, I learned plenty from each senator during the meeting and will advise us on how best to deal with each member in turn and the relations of each one to the other. This meeting was invaluable, and to be able to sit in as a fly on the wall will help my people for years to come." Mezec gaped at the human, then remembered that he was driving, so he put his eyes back on the sky. "What, do you mean?" Diego sniffed and pulled out his paper notepad, flipping through it. "First, Senator Jabug of the Pidgeot seems to have hatred for Senators LnGai and Wintilla of the Gunnar and Tessin peoples, respectively. From what I can tell and what proposals he has put forth during the meeting suggests that his governments are trying to gather resources at even Fort Base. My working theory is that there is a long-standing grudge with the two peoples of the Padij, as likely one-sided, due to the lack of the reaction from the LnGai and the Wintilla, perhaps resulting of a past wound or conflict that ended the Padij defeat and humiliation. Shocking. Mezec recalled the war several generations ago where the Padij's territory was stolen and their fleets decimated at the hands of the Gunnar. When asking for help from the Tessin, they refused and instead took some territory themselves. This was all before any of them joined the GF. But then, that was common knowledge. Anyone could look that up. Second, Senators Grek, Mos, Rizi, and Pasnahitavali are on very friendly terms, as each vote in each other's favor and veto together against anything that would put them at a disadvantage, especially when involving Senators Kutdata, Loxon, and Fitarashon. It seems they have an alliance for a long time. Even as the meeting is finished, they flock together and leave as a group. I suspect they might try to succeed from the GF, but not likely anytime soon, as they are only 4 amongst 100 senators. I bet that they had tried convincing Quidata, Loxon, and Fitarashon into joining them, but failed. Mashika had known about those 4 wanting to leave the GF, and that those 3 senators just mentioned were the ones who told him as such. It would be a very dangerous thing if 4 gained any kind of traction. It could tear the entire galaxy apart. That wasn't something one could learn just by gleaning information from the news. Third, I suspect Senators Party and Resh are planning something independent of each other, considering the words that they used when they spoke. I suspect there's a big plot in the works for both of them, perhaps assassination or terrorist attack of some, whatever it is. It will be a big thing. There are many other things I noticed, but those are more private and needs more investigation before they can be made avenues of interest or exploit. How do you know that those 2 would do something so extreme? Masika asked. Again, the words they used like purge, smite, cleanse are among many words used in religious zealotry, where often the most heinous of atrocities can be enacted in its name, even if it can inspire just as much good in people. Diego sighed and put a pad and paper down. I use something so manual as paper. Simple. If it's destroyed, it can't be salvaged for any data or knowledge. Unlike anything digital, where a signal can be interrupted, erased, stolen, or even intercepted. Once it burns, it's ashes. Masika shivered at the human's cold tone. Forgive me for saying, but that's a bit scary how you can do that. Diego laughed. Well, a wise man on Earth once said, the most dangerous person is the one who listens, thinks, and observes. And knowledge is a powerful thing. And, who said that? Masika gulped. Bruce Lee, a famous martial artist on Earth's 20th century. Well known for his films and fighting, Diego grinned. End of story. Story number 2. Humans saying, "Witness me," written by Old Phil. The klaxon sounded loudly over the ship as it lurched about from gravity anomaly impacts. Captain Wises, to the power of equals LTM, rushed to the bridge, bouncing wildly off the walls like the rest of the crew, with them screaming in panic. Finally, making it to the bridge, the captain took his seat from the first officer and started shouting orders, questions, taking command. They had hit an unstable region of space-time. The computer could not detect the gravitational anomalies fast enough to avoid them. The ship was being hammered by unstable space-time like a hammer and a forge smashing their vessel to bits. The bridge door zoomed open and the human stormed the port shouting, "Permission to take the helm, sir." The human stood there as the ship lurched from side to side, swaying with it with his legs while his body remained still, unaffected by the jolts like a balancing act or an old salty sailor at a storm. The captain shouted for the brand new hotspot pilot to take the helm and get us through this mess safely. Humans were notoriously quick with their reflexes, able to take powerful G-forces and with reactions faster than any other known galactic race. The human shouted a weird order at the current embattled and weary pilot, who vacated the helm. Quickly, the human easily glided across the lurching floor smoothly, as the pilot grabbed something the human handed him. Confused by the order, the pilot held on to it and made certain to observe the skills of the deft human pilot. The human got in the seat and grabbed the controls. The ship immediately began swaying and lurching, but smoothly now. The new human pilot easily guided the ship between the anomalies and quickly out into the smooth, stable hyperspace. The relieved alien pilot handed the human back the canister and wondered why the odd order from the human. Afterwards, back at the ship's bar, the human and the pilot were having a drink together. The pilot asked, "What did you mean by your order earlier? And how did you know you'd get us out of there so easily?" The human refilled their glass and said, "Better get comfortable," and took a long drink before starting. "You see, the concept we humans have accepted is the concept of infinity. It is a tough one to grasp. In a multiverse of infinite possibilities, there is infinite certainty. So I knew that in an infinite number of timelines, even a chance seemingly impossibly slim and infinitely possible, meaning I knew that I could save us because in other timelines I've done it already, an infinite amount of times. Does that make sense? It's all about confidence." The pilot responded, "Not even in the slightest. It made like 0 sense. What the hell are you drinking, dude?" The human takes a sip of his beer and said, "See, too hard to explain. That's why I just said, hold my beer and watch this instead." End of story. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed.